Welcome back, dear students. Hope you're all doing good. In the last class, we talked about four non farm employment activities where farmers can find sustainable livelihood options because agriculture, is kind of a seasonal job. And the four activities that we discussed were livestock farming, dairying, horticulture, and fisheries. The fifth non-farm employment activity we're going to talk about is information technology, which has a huge scope and which, there has been technological revolution in India since in this new century, since 2000s, since the first decade of 21st century, we have been seeing a revolution by information technology in our country, though a little late in our country, but then it has provided employment to a large number of people. I think I also told you initially when there was technology coming up in all the fields in the job sectors, there was a huge protest against it that it will snatch away employment from a lot of people. But then it is information technology, it is the IT sector which is providing employment to a lot of people these days. There is a huge scope of employment in IT, and even in this crisis right now, which is going on in the world, there are IT people who are connecting the world where the work is still going on through the help of technology only. So this is the fifth activity we are going to talk about, and all that we did, horticulture and all. We talked about that the China is the largest producer of fruits in the world. Then we have India. Then we have all other countries. We have USA. We have Brazil. These are the topmost countries. We talked about poultry farming. Also, India has the largest share of poultry farming in all its livestock farming, and other facts also we discussed. Just find out some facts: which country produces which fruit, which country has the largest share for which fruit, and all that. Like for example, China, I think, has the largest share for apple. India has the largest share for mangoes and bananas, and just like that. And for the last 3 decades, I think India is one of the world's largest milk producer now, with 22% of the global production, and USA is now on the second rank, followed by again China and Brazil. So these were some facts we discussed in the last class also. Let's talk about this fifth activity now. Information technology, the meaning refers to that branch of engineering that deals with the use of computers and telecommunications to retrieve the information, that is, to gain the information first, to store it, and finally to transmit it, to send it to various places. Indian technology has revolutionized many sectors in the Indian economy. There is broad agreement that it will play a critical role, just what we were talking about, in achieving sustainable development and food security in the 21st century. Now, how information technology can play its role in rural development? We are actually dealing with rural development in this chapter. So, how in rural development IT sector can play its role? That's the question. So, um, important points about IT, let us see. Government, through appropriate information and suitable tools, software tools, government has been able to predict areas of food insecurity and vulnerability. This is the first point. With the help of this technology, government can predict the areas where food insecurity can happen in future, where there is shortage of food, where people are not able to afford it, where there is less availability of food. That is the areas which are in danger zone, which are vulnerable to food security. So, using such important software tools, action can be taken to prevent or reduce the likelihood of an emergency. So, suitable actions can be taken by the government to, to ensure complete supply of food in that area, so that prices do not rise due to shortage of supply, and people are able to have enough food in their areas. So this is how information technology government is making use of to identify the areas which are which are in the danger zone of being food insecure, and then actions can be taken to prevent or reduce the likelihood of an emergency. Like no emergency should occur in that area in the future. So to prevent the emergency, actions can be taken. Next, it also has a positive impact on the agriculture sector as it circulates information about what regarding emerging technologies and its applications, what new technologies are coming in the agriculture sector, how we can apply those technologies, how we can make use of it, what are the prices of the products in the market, what is the current status of weather, what will be the status of weather expected in the next 3 months, which crop is more favorable to grow right now, which crop is not favorable, soil conditions in the various areas for growing different crops. All these things can be circulated among the farmers with the help of technology. Earlier there was one, I remember, a special FM channel meant for the farmers exclusively to be shared with them such kind of information. There was one FM channel. I don't know if it is still there in rural areas, but government had launched one special FM channel for the farmers, which was exclusively providing all the information relating to their agricultural activities for their benefit. Third point, how again IT sector can play a role here. It can act as a tool for releasing the creative potential and knowledge embedded in the society. Also, it has potential of employment generation in rural areas. So, all the potential information, which is, all the creativeness which is hidden in the society, all the knowledge which is hidden in the society, it has the potential to release all that knowledge and, spread it among the people. Also, IT sector provides employment generation in rural areas. So the aim for increasing the role of IT is to make every village a knowledge center where it provides a sustainable option of employment and livelihood. So IT sector in India, especially in rural areas, it has a long way to go, long, long. People really need to know working of their whatever conditions in which they are working, the prices they need to know so that exploitation can be avoided. So this is one example of rural development just for knowledge enrichment, adoption of village by parliamentarians. In October 2014, government launched the scheme Sansad Adarsh Gram Yojana, where each MP, he or she, they had to adopt one village as a model village by 2016, and they can develop that particular village from their constituencies, and whichever constituency they have been elected, they can select one model village and can work on its development. Like this, they can take up the activities, build infrastructure in the areas of health, nutrition, and education. The condition was that the village should not be MP's own village or, husband's or wife's village, because that would be like self motive would come in otherwise. So, according to the scheme, the village can have a population of 3,000 to the 5,000 in the plains areas and 1 to 3,000 in the hills areas. So, to begin with, MPs can develop one village and then two more by 2019, and then covering over 2,500 villages in India. So, this was a plan introduced by the government in 2014, just for knowledge. Coming to the last topic of the chapter, rural development, sustainable development, and organic farming. So, the term has been heard quite often these days: organic farming, organically produced goods, organically produced crops. There has been increasing demand for such goods and crops nowadays. The trend of organic, healthy eating is catching up again, where an increasing number of Indian citizens, they have chosen a complete chemical-free lifestyle. They have turned towards eating natural and organic. And we are seeing newer organic brands also in the market. If you have noticed, they are coming up. They have traditional processing techniques. And all this is made possible due to the awareness spread by a lot of change makers, NGOs, and organic food marketing companies. Also, rising popularity and awareness within the younger generation and millennials is the reason behind the growth. Actually, basically, it is the millennials, it is the people of this millennium, it is the current contemporary people who are actually, leading to its higher demand. And in a country having 1.3 billion citizens, there is immense scope and opportunity for new brands to enter, work mutually for the growth of organic industry. And they can make it a rewarding opportunity for the investors also to enter the space of organically produced goods. The major difference between organic and conventional farming are actually the methods used during food production. While the production is going on, that differentiates whether it is organic or conventional. So conventional is what we are actually producing, what people are generally doing. That becomes convention. Like, when you meet somebody, shaking hand is a convention. This is how you generally do it. So conventional agriculture is one which usually happens, like the ones which we are making, in the ones in which we are making use of chemicals, pesticides, and all those things. That's conventional agriculture. It relies heavily on chemical fertilizers, toxic pesticides, etc., which enter the food supply. It penetrate the water resources also, so it harm the water bodies also. It leads to water pollution, harm the livestock, deplete the soil also, leads to soil erosion, and it devastates natural ecosystems also. This is what conventional agriculture is doing. Yes, it is destroying the natural resources of the country. So, efforts have been made to evolve technologies which are eco friendly and are essential for sustainable development. And one such eco friendly technology is organic farming. What is the meaning of organic farming? If we see the major differences between organic farming methods and conventional farming are the methods used during food production. Organic farming, it needs good soil, good air quality, then it must be maintained also by using natural growing practices, avoiding these harmful chemicals, continued practice of crop rotation, along with other natural farming methods. So let us just see the definition. It relies on techniques such as crop rotation, green manure, compost, and biological pest control. No chemical pesticides and all. Biologically, we have to control the pest. Through all the organic matter, everything will be produced. This method avoids the use of synthetic chemical fertilizers and genetically modified organisms. Now, it is the process of producing safe and healthy food without leaving any adverse impact on the environment. That's true. Yes, you're producing safe food, healthy food, and you're not leaving any adverse impact on the environment, no soil erosion and all that. In fact, it boosts the fertility of the soil. It is a whole system of farming that restores, maintains, and enhances the ecological balance. There is an increasing demand for organically grown food, just what we were discussing, to enhance food safety throughout the world, actually. So, it has also this potential of earning through exports. Organic farming has also got this benefit. Okay, for this topic, you really need to know a good answer, as it is an important topic in this era. Actually, in these times, organic farming has got its own place, has got its own role to play. So you should be knowing it, you should be knowing a good answer actually on organic farming, combining its definitions, merits, demerits, everything. Let us just see the merits of organic farming. It is beneficial because of following reasons. Economical, because you don't have to spend on chemical fertilizers, HYV seeds, pesticides, etc. That is why it is organical. In fact, organic, if we see the statistics, I read somewhere, organic agriculture is typically more profitable actually. It is up to 35% more profitable than conventional farming. Then it is a, let us see this one first. It is a source of employment since it requires more labor. It is more labor intensive actually. Organic management is more labor intensive than conventional practices. So for workers, it is going to generate more employment opportunities. Then it provides healthy food. This we have already seen because it avoids use of chemicals, generates income through exports, just the point we were discussing, because there is a huge increasing demand in the world for organically grown food. So it can fetch us income through exports also. Safety of environment, not just only for the consumers but also for producers, because the biggest advantage is that organically produced farming crops actually decreases their exposure to toxic agrochemicals. So that's in that way it is a good type of farming for the workers also. The produce of organic farming again is pesticide free and it is produced in environmentally sustainable way. Um, This is for knowledge enrichment again. Organic food is gaining popularity across the world. Many countries have around 10% of their food system under organic farming. Many retail chains, supermarkets, they're recorded with green status to sell organic food. In fact, if I tell you, Bhutan, it has an interesting vision of becoming a fully organic nation by 2020, and the country has already pioneered in organic farming. Also in India, Sikkim is the first state and the only state by now which has been declared by the government as the only Indian state with 100% organic farming. So you can imagine, the kind of beauty Sikkim has, the good quality of air people are enjoying there, the good quality of soil people are enjoying there. Even with all God's grace, Sikkim, did not even report any single coronavirus case also. Not just to relate the topic with organic farming, just for an information where we were talking about Sikkim. Okay, in 1995, Kisan Mehta of Prakriti, an NGO, first suggested that cotton, which uses maximum chemical pesticides, could be grown organically. At present, 130 farmers have committed 1,200 hectares of land to grow cotton organically on the International Federation of Organic Agriculture Movements standards. Okay. What are the challenges actually before organic farming? Let us just see what challenges do we have if we continue producing goods organically. First challenge is it is less popular. It has to be popularized by creating awareness among the farmers and all that for adoption of new technology. There is a serious need for appropriate agricultural policy to promote this. Lack of infrastructure and marketing facilities. It faces problems of inadequate infrastructure and marketing facilities. If we are talking about this, I'll like you to, I'd like you to tell that the organic food market in India is still at its, initial stage wherein we are noticing an increasing demand from end buyers, but due to limited availability, because the output of organically produced crops is quite low as compared to conventionally produced crops. So with the a huge in a huge populated country like India, is organically produced crop actually going to feed the entire country or not? That's the point. Because the major problem this kind of food is facing right now currently is the price. The organic products are priced at such a high rate, which makes market penetration quite challenging. The supply remains low, and this limited availability of organic foods, coupled with the fact that majority of sales is concentrated only in larger cities as of now. Majority of sale of organic products is actually concerned in larger cities. It shows that the supply chains of supply chains of organic food is actually inadequate. It is not well established from farms to domestic consumers. The chain which is linked to distribute the organic products, it is not well established. There is a lack of knowledge about organic products. So it leads to a low penetration amongst potential customers. So let's come back to this. It faces problems of inadequate infrastructure and marketing facilities. This is what I was telling you. That is why the prices are also very high. It has a lesser yield, just discussed, as compared to modern agricultural farming. So it is difficult to, feed the nation also. Shorter shelf life of organic food as compared to sprayed produce, obviously, because it is organically produced, so no chemicals are sprayed and all that, so it will have a natural life only, and natural life of the food is very less, so it can go waste also if it is not sold well in time. The choice in production of off-season crops is quite limited in organic farming. Nowadays, if you notice, we are producing everything throughout the year, or made so many fruits and vegetables which are actually seasonal, which should be coming in a particular season. They are produced throughout the year. Apples, they are sold every month of the year now, but they belong to particular season only, because we have a lot of chemicals which support their growth even in the off season. But in organically produced goods, you have very less options of crops to produce an off season. It is not possible. You cannot produce naturally um, some fruit or vegetable or cereal, uh, when the natural factors does not support its growth without the use of chemicals. So these are the limitations. First limitation that we discussed is it is still less popular among the farmers and all. Lack of marketing facilities, low yield, low production as compared to modern farming, shorter food life, and limited choice of crops. These are the benefits that we did, that it is economical, 35% more profitable, generates income through exports, provides healthy food, sources of employment, safety of environment, everything. In spite of all these limitations, organic farming helps in sustainable development of agriculture, and India has a clear advantage in producing organic products for both domestic as well as international markets. This is just an evaluation of the entire chapter. We'll just see this. Let me just show you yes, this graph. India lands under organic farming by countries. I was just, reading out some statistics on organic farming, and I could find this beneficial, more informative than others. If you see, Australia ranked number one in organic layout in this entire outlook of organic farming, and India ranks ninth in the global outlook. You can just see the percentage of land devoted to organic farming. It is actually in absolute numbers. India devotes 1.18 million hectares towards organic farming, and Australia devotes 22.69 million hectares towards organic farming. So in 2015, the total land under organic farming was 50.9 million hectares, combining all the countries, which is just 1.1% of the world's total agricultural land. So whatever total agricultural land is, India just not India, the entire world towards organic farming, it is only 1.1% as of now. So even 99, you know, even now 99% of agricultural land is devoted to conventional farming. Though the size of land in organic farming had increased fourfolds from 11 million hectare to 50.9, but the percentage here remains as nominal as anything, that is 1.2%. So percentage share is still very less. The producers, India has the maximum producers. You can see towards organic farming, 5,85,200. And that is out of the total producers, more than 86% of overall organic producers, they are from developing economies, maybe because of high population also. So this is some of the data of organic farming, distribution of organic producers by region. In Asia, 35% producers are there which are committed to organic farming and all that. So this was about allocation of land towards organic farming. India has devoted 1.18 million hectares. Now, if we evaluate the entire chapter, let us just take it. Stress on diversification. There is a need to make rural areas more vibrant through diversification into dairying, poultry, fisheries, vegetables, and fruits. Rural and urban linkage should more be there, to realize higher returns on the investment for the products. Better facilities like infrastructure, credit and marketing, state agricultural departments, farmer friendly agricultural policies, constant appraisal and dialogue between farmers groups. The aim is to achieve full potential of the rural sector. And then more emphasis on sustainable development. So if there comes like sometimes, leaving the entire chapter, they give you a question like, what are the key areas, evaluate the rural development, what are the key areas where we need to focus ourselves. So this is where you have to write this conclusion. The rural sector will continue to remain backward until and unless some spectacular changes occur. Some of the changes which need to be taken for development are outlined below. So these are all those areas: farmer friendly agricultural policies, constant appraisal and dialogue between farmers groups, more emphasis on sustainable development. There is a need to invent or procure alternate sets of eco-friendly technologies that lead to sustainable development in different circumstances. So that's all about rural development. Complete your notes. All those who were supposed to send me their notes from the register, I have received not all of yous actually. Okay, so in the next class, most probably we will be discussing questions related to the chapters we have done. Also, I will be giving you one test on poverty, most probably in this weekend. So prepare the chapter. I'm giving you 2 days to prepare before I share the test with you. I should be getting back all the responses, and then I'll be telling you the score. Till then, prepare for your chapters, complete all the notes. The syllabus is going on. Do not lag behind. Complete all your work in the register. Go through it, read your book. Try to understand about the topics. Be somewhat inquisitive. Try to read about these topics more and more. Come up with the doubts, come up with more queries. That will only give you a better understanding of the topics we are doing. A very sensitive unit is actually going on, the challenges which India has before its economy. So for today, that's all. Just complete your notes and take care. Thank you. Most probably we'll be taking the questions only in the next class before starting with any fresh chapter. So be ready with your books and everything. Just keep your preparation on. You will be answering, I will be asking most probably. Okay, take care all of you.